All right, I just got done with practice. I'm at home, but I haven't gone in my house yet. Any other coaches do that? Like, don't want to go in yet because I'm just kind of processing what happened at practice today. And I've been coaching girls volleyball for the past 14 years, but kind of the differences in coaching girls and what we as coaches need to know about it. So I practiced today, pretty standard normal practice. It's a Friday though, so my girls have been through it this week. We had games, training schedule stuff. By the time Friday hits, like a lot has happened. But today we were doing a serve receive drill, and I could tell like one of my players, her body language just kind of started shifting. She was shanking some balls, meaning like she wasn't really like playing her best, but had shanked a few in a row. And then finally, after a while, I could tell like the tears were coming. And this happens from time to time. Like I said, if you coach girls, you probably have had this happen where like somebody starts crying on the court and you're like, where did that come from? And yeah, she was like trying to hide it. And so we called the water break and I called her over and I'm like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden she just like cries even more and more. And what's kind of interesting is right before this, I was like talking to my assistant coach who's a male. And I was like, do you see what's going on here? And he's like, no, I didn't notice anything. And it's just so interesting because that's like not the first time that's happened either. Where I'm like, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see her respond that way? Or like her body language shift? And he's always like, no. So there is also a difference I believe when you're a female coach, you like can kind of key in on some of these things. But anyways, turns out she's like overwhelmed, got a lot going on at school, was frustrated with herself that she's shaking passes. And honestly, I was like, you're not actually playing that bad, but okay, like in her mind, she was, okay? And it was just compounding on each other. And the first piece of this that I'm like, this kind of is a common theme when it comes to coaching girls is that if you don't allow space as coaches, if we don't allow space for some of this emotion to come out and allow for them to process a little bit, it's going to come out anyways. And on Fridays, actually, I didn't do it today. Normally we do like a little bit before practice, like with our daily mindset routine. We do a lot of mental training in our program, and the like kind of bread and butter of what we do is this like 5 to 7 minute mental training thing before practice. But I didn't do it today because I was like, it's Friday and I want to get out faster and all this. Well, it turns out like that maybe made a difference. So it's a combination of like some journaling where they can get some emotion out, like kind of process their day a little bit. They also do 5 minutes of a visualization called Brave. So it's like breath work. They inhale, they say their reset word, they exhale, they do a little visualization, and like it just helps them start practice with more of like a clear mind. I waste less time, but today I was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. And then here we go. So if you don't allow for some of this space to emotionally help them process, then it's gonna come out, and it's probably gonna come out in tears and breakdowns and things like that. So that's kind of the first thing. But the other thing that I often see with girl athletes is that they tie so much of how they feel about themselves to their performance. And there's like this perfectionism that like is always seeping under the surface. And it's like, if I can't be perfect or do this, just right, then I'm not good enough. And a lot of this like self-worth that they're not just self-worth, but just like how they feel that day is based on how they're performing. And I know that's like also human nature, but we need to support them with skills to be able to de-link who they are from what they do. And we need to support them with skills on how to get over mistakes faster, because like this player that was ruminating over these mistakes and it was really causing her to not only just make one. It could have been like one mistake and then, all right, move on, next ball, next play, because she got a ton of opportunities and a ton of reps in this practice. It was no, like one turned into 2 and 3 and 4. And now all of a sudden she's like, I'm having a terrible practice, when like if she were to and we do teach a snapback routine, like just a really simple way for all my athletes to come back. But sometimes they forget they have some of these skills, and it's my job as a coach to remind them. But if she's not using that, then like, of course she's going to let one mistake turn into 2 and 3 and 4. And then it's going to turn into like this bigger thing than it really needs to be. So there's that. And then the last thing that this just reminded me of with coaching girls is if they don't feel safe to take risks, if they don't feel safe in their environment, then they're not going to take risks. And we as coaches want them to take risks. We want them to like go for it and be aggressive. And a lot of times girl athletes won't, because they're afraid of making a mistake. They're afraid of letting the people around them down, and they don't feel necessarily safe. Like, we have to develop that safe and that supportive environment. So thankfully with this athlete, like, we do have things in place like this, but like I said, I didn't do some of my normal things on this day, but we have like systems in place to help check in. But part of the way that they can really feel safe, and if you've ever heard that phrase, like, girls need to not have fun, they need to feel good to win, and boys need to win to feel good. And part of that, like, feeling good, I don't know if that's based in any research, but I would say from like anecdotal, I don't know, experience, that is basically true, that they need to like feel good, not only about themselves, so building them up with their confidence, with their mental game, but also with their team. And so we started implementing, and I need to get back to this too, just check-ins with the team. We call these open circle meetings, where they're sharing things outside of volleyball, so they're connecting with each other. And that helps them trust each other, and they feel like they belong more, because when they feel like they belong, they feel safe, and then they can take risks. Same thing with like being able to have an environment where they can fail, and as coaches giving them opportunities to fail. So anyways, I know this is a lot, but it's a lot that came up for me when I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, a lot of athletes, especially girls, like, they can deal with a lot, and then all of a sudden it becomes too much. And when it does, I need to look at, like, do I have these things in place? Do we have an opportunity for the girls to connect with each other every week outside of just talking about volleyball? Am I connecting with my athletes? Like, am I doing my one-on-one meetings? Am I checking in before practice? Connect before correct is another thing that, like, we've got to remember to do. Are we allowing them space to get their emotions and process that a little bit before practice, so that it's not coming out in practice? So anyways, just some things on my mind. I know that a lot of you have been in this situation too, where you're like, whoa, coaching girls is like way more of an emotional thing than I ever thought it was. Well, you're not alone. I am going through it with you. I am, you know, experiencing it. I'm in the trenches. So I'm doing my best to practice what I preach as well. And I do have a free training where I go over a lot of this and the things that I do in my program, the things that can help you as a coach just like really simply implement mental training and do some of these strategies and these tactics, because they really don't take a lot of time. But at this point in the season, I'm like, do we really need to, you know, I kind of fall into that trap too. And it's like, yes, we do, because when we do, things go a lot smoother. So anyways, the link for that is below. That's also at coachfreetraining.com. So check that out if you want some simple strategies around this. Okay, I think I've vented enough, and now I get to go inside to see my family.